Okay, so real quick, I'm doing this as me, no alter ego, no killing time, no show. This is just me getting sick of reading text messages and emails asking me what I think of the shutdown. Because instead of going, oh look, a friend wants to talk to me, this would be great, and what do I think? I think that blah 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 blah. Sent. Bing. Oh, an email. What do you think? Well, alright, I think that blah blah blah. Also in conjunction with blah blah blah, habeas corpus, and I'm just sick of just typing out paragraphs and such to answer this question. I figured we can do this as a whole, so people can stop texting me and calling me. And chances are, um, some people watch it, some people won't. But that's beside the point. I just want to get this out to my friends so they understand I'm tired of doing this, so I'm just gonna do this instead. So all my friends, this is just a response to all the whole shit. So real quick, um, so for those who don't know me, I'll give you an idea of where I'm coming from with this and why I think this is a whole load of shit. So real quick, this article is back from 2012 of September in the New York Times by J.D. Klein. To give you an idea of where I'm coming from when I start rambling off and my whole 2 bits about what I think about the shutdown. So real quick, so just two excerpts. If Mitt Romney's pivots on President Obama's healthcare reform act have accelerated to a blur, from repealing on day one to preserving this or that piece to punting the decision to the states, it is for an odd reason buried beneath 2.5 years of Republican political condemnations. The architecture of the Affordable Care Act is based on conservative, not liberal ideas about individual responsibility and the power of market forces. Also, this fundamental ideological paradox is drowned out by partisan shouting since before the plan's passage in 2010 to '09 actually, explains why Obamacare has only lukewarm support from many liberals who wanted a real, not imagined, and these are quotes, government takeover of healthcare. It explains why Republicans have been unable since its passage to come up with anything better, and explains why the law is nearly identical in design to the legislation Mr. Romney passed in Massachusetts while governor. So now that we understand my whole beef with the Republicans versus Democrats is basically that's what it really comes down to. Don't believe anything you've heard from the conservative market when it comes to what they think is the unholiest thing ever. And I'm not gonna call it that. I'm tired of hearing that name. It's disgusting. The Affordable Care Act is a law. It's passed. It's done. Call it what it is. Not that that's ridiculous nickname. The fact of the matter is, it was a plan based in Republican ideals and their system, their architecture, what they were going to use as their calling card to pitch. The fact of the matter is, said president and his group beat them to the punch. So basically, this has become a super pissing contest. The fact that they did something the Republicans wanted to do and got caught flat-footed. So what are they doing? They're pitching it as the worst thing ever. And the article by J.D. Klein, great article by the way, from the New York Times, just illustrates that point perfectly in the article, and this is back a year ago. That simply put, the main reason why they're opposing it is because they got beaten to the punch. Add in the fact there are people on the Republican side, both real Republicans and those nutbag teabaggers, and people in general for a reason, that oppose your president just oppose your president. There's that first group of people that just are gonna not agree with anything he says. If he came out and said I am black, they'll be like, no, you're not. You're like purple. They'll just oppose just to oppose. Then there are people that may actually find legitimate flaws in the said program that are opposed to it, that just jump on the bandwagon because that's the NBA bandwagon, so they want to get their point across. They gotta jump on that bandwagon to again face him. And then there's the age-old people who are just flat out Republicans who just flat out oppose Democrats. So you have 3 sections of groups that have their own motivations to oppose said president, oppose said act, throw in cable media and all that other good bullshit, and then eventually brings us to this clusterfuck that is this government shutdown. And I'm not gonna talk about the shutdown. I'm not gonna do that because I think the link at the bottom I put into the comments from Daily Show from this past Monday, I think nails it perfectly. There's something I can say about it that will trump that, so I'm gonna skip that part. But here's my take on the shutdown. Not the whole act and everything else. It's childish, it's stupid, and all it does is do what our government has been doing for many years now, decades. It's been a while. It's pretty much just doing this. One big mighty F you to the people. Because no matter how you want to spin it, And there's a lot of ways you can spin it. In the end, all it does is hurt the people. And that's it. You can't say I'm gonna go this route because I believe this horrible character is so bad that we're gonna shut down the government so that we can protect the people, while at the same time not funding the government that has federally funded programs that help weak and sick people and veterans. That shit that Michelle Bachmann did, the World War II veterans, was just god awfully like nauseating. That was like such a PR bullshit move on her part to suck up. It's sad. There was no honest. There's not one shit of honesty that came out of that stunt, but that's a whole other endeavor. But that's where we are now. We are with a government that has repeatedly said for the people, by the people, and all that good shit. But let's face it, freedom in this country is an illusion. We have freedom, but let's understand what freedom is. Freedom is the right to choose, and that's it. Freedom is the right to choose. But when we're constantly being phone tapped, email tapped, video tapped, and this goes back to 2011, I'm sorry, 2000, with the September 11th attacks, and when the Homeland Security became, law of the land, and we all knew, anyone with a bright IQ above mustard knew the government was going to start spying on us way before the whole thing with NSA went everywhere. We all knew it was happening, but we rolled on it because we wanted to be secure, we wanted to be safe. We gave up a piece of our privacy, our freedom for that. Freedom in this joke is a lie. We have freedom, but it's under a guise of tyranny. We're under the guise of tyranny based on Republicans and Democrats, the two ruling groups. Basically, we have two kings, Democrats and Republicans. Underneath them are the representatives, and that's all they are. They rule us. What they say goes. What they say goes. Eventually, they make compromises, but eventually, us, the peasants, we just have to go along with whatever law they decide to go along with. We bitch, we moan, we do all kinds of weird things. We hold hands and light candles and shit. But in the end, we pretty much just bend over and take it because none of us actually take the time to realize why we're getting butt fucked. Case in point, I want to read you this email that I got that pretty much pissed me off because this goes back to I love the fact that people want to fight, want to do something. They're tired of being shafted and they're angry and they want to do something about it, but they just rush into it without actually thinking about the fight they're getting themselves into. So, here was the email I got that really ticked me off. It was a forward message. You may have got one similar. And the subject is growing 35 states so far, and it's growing FYI. So, governments of 35 states have filed suit against the federal government for imposing unlawful burdens upon them. It only takes 38 parentheses of the 50 states to convene a constitutional convention. I'm sorry. Let's take less than 30 seconds to read. If you agree, please pass this on. This is an idea that we should address. So, this is where it gets all patriotic and all lovey-dovey and bullshit. So for far too long we have been too complacent about the workings of Congress. The latest is to exempt themselves from the Healthcare Reform Act that passed in all its forms. Somehow that doesn't seem logical. We do not have an elite that is above the law. What country are you living in? Of course we have an elite that is above the law. It's called the United States government. It's been in charge since day one. Where the fuck have you been? I truly don't care if they are Democrat, Republican, Independent, or wherever. The self-serving must stop. I would kind of agree with that. If each person receives this will forward to 15 people in 3 days, most people in the United States of America will have the message. This is one proposal that already should be passed through. So they're proposing 20th Amendment, which is Congress shall not make no law that applies to the citizens of the United States that does not apply equally to the senators or its representatives. And Congress shall make no law that applies to senators and or representatives that does not apply equally to the citizens of the United States. Please pass that along. So my reply, as it were, and it's a great reply. I think it's a great reply. So this is why I hate chain letters from people who talk politics and don't do their homework first. Already in the books is the 27th Amendment, which states no law changing congressional compensation may take effect until an election in the House of Representatives. Furthermore, lawyers on both sides will argue over loopholes and over an amendment in direct contradiction of what's in place. Add to the fact that if you're going to attack an amendment, that leaves all other ones up for grabs. And considering how great our lawmakers are, do you really want that happening? So, fight for change, but know what you're fighting up against before spewing words. Either way, and this is the big thing, until they get the sarcasms back to words, nothing's changing. So we can propose all the fuck we want. We can send all these emails out what we want, but the fact of the matter is, until we get the ball rolling, we can say, I propose this amendment, I propose that amendment. Doesn't mean jack shit. You still have to oppose the ones that are already in existence. And considering the great bureaucratic loopholes that these people are known for, what the fuck are you fighting for? I don't understand that. You're fighting for change, but you're not understanding the fight up against. You're not understanding the fight ahead of you. You want change, great. You want to fight for change, great. But understand, think of it like a boxing fight. You're gonna fight someone. Your goal is to either A, knock him out, or B, go the distance. But you need to know your opponent first. You need to know strengths, weaknesses, patterns, strategies. You need to know all that stuff. So before you even get to that, what do? You hit the gym, you train, you do whatever you do to get your body in physical change. But you don't study your opponent. You don't study the weaknesses, the strengths, the strategies. So basically, you go into this fight going, I got this, I got speed, and before you know it, you're on the floor because you didn't know what you're up against. That's pretty much what that is. You're ready to go, you're ready to run, you have the muscle on the street, the speed, you're ready to go, but you're not taking the necessary steps to understand what your opponent is capable of. So the amendment is nice and pretty, but you're not taking into consideration what you're up against. And that's what drives me nuts. People want change. People want to fight for something better, but no one's taking into account the homework that goes along with it. And that's what angers me. That's what drives me nuts. That's what drives me nuts about this whole shutdown. People are bitching and moaning, but no one's doing the homework to understand why we got to this point. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat. The fact of the matter is that once you qualify yourself as a Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal, you're already taking yourself out of the game. You already let yourself down that you're going to believe that your group's ideal is better than the other. That the idea that you can possibly be wrong doesn't exist in your mind. It's your way or nothing. You want to compromise on certain things, but the key ideological points you will not give up on because your group believes in that. So we have that group and that group doing this, and here we are. So that's my hope. That's my whole thing. And a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, I want to say actually, saw a posting I did for a rally, and called me out on it, and it kind of made me think a lot before I started doing this. So I wasn't gonna do this video, but I wasn't really sure I would start coming out like this. So this is what he said as a comment on a rally I'm going to. So, whew, clear. As much as the next person, but it is not anonymity that will turn the tide against the pluralitic republic. We need individuals speaking as themselves, for themselves, and on behalf of individuals who cannot speak for themselves. Which my reply was simply, there is not one thing wrong with what you said. Just hoping from the masses, leaders will rise. And this is where he called me stumped, and I haven't replied yet because I don't know I don't know how to answer this yet. And he goes, "You seem to be someone who already has, Shannon." And folks, I'm no leader. I'll be the first person to tell you, don't follow me into anything. I'm the guy that has jumped off roofs for fun. I have crashed parties. I've done some whacked out shit, but apparently maybe that's why people keep texting me. If you keep emailing me about my thoughts or whatever, it's maybe I make sense to certain things, or maybe in my paranoid state, I think they could take a joke thinking my views are just stupid or scattered or whatever. I'm pretty much talking out of my ass. But part of me thinks, what if what I do is not me personally, but what I'm doing is the ultimate solution. That we take the time to step back, do the homework, and actually find the people that know how to battle what's coming up against. I think a great way to fuck over the government, but ultimately, but in the grand scheme, would fall flat. Can you imagine? Just roll with me on this. If next presidential election, after all the debates are done and TV broadcasting, newspapers, and everything stuff, how about this? How about this? Election day, no one goes. What if we the people said, fuck it, we're tired of voting for the people that keep screwing us over? Because in the end, it is us that keep putting these people in offices, and then we yell at them for screwing us over. In the grand scheme of things, we need to look in the mirror and realize we're the ones putting up with it. We're the ones constantly voting for them. It gets to a point where, I'm sorry, but the lesser of two evils no longer exist, because in the end, the word evil still exists. The greater good we can argue over with, because then comes a very moral slate. But when you're arguing over two evils, and you gotta choose the lesser of the two, in the end, you're choosing evil. In the end, you're constantly putting your foot in your mouth. You're pretty much just bending over and letting whoever elected official you want take over. And you figured, well, it was either him or the other guy or other gal, and you know what? It's lesser of two evils. It gets to a point where you can't do this anymore. So I pitched this. Why not an election? No one shows up. Why not? Why not tell our government that we're not voting for you no more? We're gonna find someone that's not Republican, that's not Democrat. How about that? A third party, a fourth party, a fifth party. Someone new, a new group that understands that we're tired. The rest of the world thinks we're idiots, and for good reasons. We keep electing idiots, so obviously the problem starts with us, and then it goes all the way up. They always say you're always gauged by the strongest. I'm so gonna say this wrong, but I'm sorry. But you're pretty much gauged by the weakest link in the chain. Our weakest link is our poor, and our poor is suffering. It's trickled into the middle class, and you're damn well sure before it even gets close to the upper class, they'll just cut that shit off at the knees, and they will just keep going on until they implode. But they'll sure as fuck get rid of us before they even think about themselves. So that's my rambling. So like, dislike. That's pretty much it. If you think I'm right, cool beans. If you think I'm wrong, no. If you agree with some points, cool. If you don't agree with some points, that's fine. The whole point is, I think we need to get to a point of understanding that we live in a democratic tyranny. As long as those two groups exist, this ain't gonna change. So it's an ignorance of bliss freedom here in the States. So hopefully one day it changes, but until we finally rise and say fuck this shit, I'm tired of it. Here we are. So again, fight for change, fight for all that good stuff. But please, folks, do the homework first. Know what we're up against. And okay, no more rambling. I'm done. Leave a comment, share, whatever. It's cool beans. It's all cool beans with me. I'll do a real fun video next time. I promise. No more political bullshit. Next week will be fun. So until then, just regular boring Shannon, just saying, it'll be okay, folks. We'll manage somehow. All right.